What's up, everybody? George back again. This is Warp Charge Gaming, and you are watching a Tabletop Alchemy 3D printing talk show that we do every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At least we try to do it every Monday. Missed the last couple weeks due to circumstances. But we will work to be efficient. We've done pretty well with our Thursday night talk show that we do on for Warp Charge Gaming about tabletop wargaming, and we're beginning to become obsessed with 3D printing as we started our 3D printing company called Tabletop Alchemy, partnered with our awesome local game store here in the Richmond, Midlothian, Virginia area, Battlegrounds. So we teamed up with Battlegrounds, and we got ourselves some printers and have been going crazy with them. And we were talking too much about them on our Thursday night show, so we had to fire off the Monday show. This is episode 3, and so far we've kind of discussed, you know, what kind of printers we're working with. The Creality CR10S's are the models that we have gotten. And kind of discussed the other options on the market and what dictates choices. But yeah, it's open season to discuss what you might please about 3D printing. Otherwise, I'll just tell you stories of what has happened over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, what up, Chicken Bone? How you doing? 3D printing episode. You know, because we talk too much about it on Thursdays. Want to keep it to the wargaming. Glad to have you. Always out there floating around doing some hobbying and trying to keep yourself entertained, I imagine there, Chicken Bone. Hopefully I can offer some words of insight about the illustrious world of 3D printing. It is fantastic. It has been only getting better and better as far as one, just the ease and quality of the prints that have been coming out. I think I talked a bit last episode. It was really an eye-opener comparing, because I had gotten 2 printers off the start, and one of them had a defect.
Yeah.
These, you know, printers that became more affordable are often based out of China, and they crank them out at high volumes. But sometimes quality control is sacrificed, and that's something I'm familiar with say, professional DJ lighting and stage lighting. I've got a lot of echo. Oh, no. I can probably fix it.
We have a manufacturer number that we can put on our barcodes to link to our products.
Huh. I shouldn't get echo.
Photos now, so we're really getting there, and it's an exciting ride.
Awkward.
I'm looking forward to spending more and more time at Battlegrounds as the new year comes along. 2019 Warp Charge Gaming Tabletop Alchemy is going to probably be pretty substantially placed into the store. We're going to have our little neck of the woods cut out within the store there. Looking forward to that. But being there, I get a lot of opportunity.
The movie on your screen? Nah, it's muted. I should be clean. Damn, now I need to like check on my phone or something, y'all. Oh, it's gone now. Okay, well, I pushed some buttons. It's dead now. Okay, all right. So anyways, back at it. I hope I just said a lot of information quickly. Was like a 2-minute delay. Apologies, everyone. Well, luckily everybody was just jumping in here, but for the people watching on the back end, they'll be like, "Oh God, you're really screwing up there, George." Glad to have fixed the audio issue. Thank you, iSwift. Thank you, Chicken Bone. Appreciate it. The word is that we've been doing a lot of printing, and it has been getting funner. I was discussing a story about recognizing, you know, at first I didn't know better that there was going to be, I knew that there was some challenges getting started with a 3D printer. You know, you got to assemble the thing. There's the bed leveling, and, you know, some people speak of it with dread. So I had my concerns, but I definitely struggled. It took me about a week to get comfortable with bed leveling and using the right adhesion. And funny enough, I actually got hit up this week with a 3D printing question from a local here saying that they were struggling to get any of their prints to stick. And they were experiencing the same thing I did. They were trying masking tape, and they just couldn't get, all their prints were lifting. The same thing happened to me until I used a Elmer's glue and alcohol combination that James has suggested. The another effective use that people swear by and really enjoy is different styles of hairspray that tend to have a lot of stick to them. I think I've found that it's fundamental that you have to have a solid type of adhesiveness to the build plate. And the folks that have reached out to me to get some help, their machine didn't come with a additional piece of glass like the Creality CR10S does. And so that was my suggestion to them, is get some glass. Make sure you can get something that is removable from the print bed, because you will end up having to clean it as you get layers and layers of film of glue on top of it, and that'll start to make an uneven print if you don't clean it fairly regularly. But yeah, using the glue alcohol combo squared me away, and once I got through that, it was pretty smooth sailing. The bed leveling was definitely another difficulty, and I found that the secret sauce for me was definitely to get some test files, some codes that were a bit better than just going through the standard auto bed leveling that was in the machine itself already. Even when I say auto bed leveling, it's not automatic. While those are out there where you have a bed leveler inside. Apparently what I'm under the impression of is that a bed, like something that does an auto bed leveling, it is basically coming up with an algorithm or equation of the imperfections in your build plate and making digital compensations so that your extruder knows where the inefficiency are in your levelness of your plate, and it basically auto balances itself out as it goes along. And apparently that can have some negative effects to it as well. That comes with its things that aren't good, and you also don't necessarily gain the skill set of learning how to manually level your bed if you only had a machine that does it for you. And while it's a nice effect, or a nice luxury to have, you're not really gaining any more effective print at that part. You're really just having a luxury item by having the machine do it for you. It's more plug and play. But if you can learn to manually level your bed, then you can actually use less feature heavy machines that cost less to be able to achieve the same kind of quality of prints on a lot more expensive machines that do some of the headaches for you ahead of time. So when I got my second, I got a third machine because one of the two of my original ones I had gotten had a defective print bed. It was not heating, and it was a learning experience in that, learning how in your slicer software you're able to set the you can tell your design that you want it to print at such and such build plate temperature. So you can actually tell your slicer to have 0 build plate temperature and still actually activate, because you'll find that your printer won't actually fire off until it reaches the minimum settings of its build plate temperature and nozzle temperature. Usually with, of course, the most type of materials. I mean, I guess at least with PLA, it's about 200 degrees, or probably Celsius, I guess, on your nozzle, and 60 on your build plate. And then that has a little bit of play, actually, per the material you get. Usually on the packaging itself, it tells you the suggested range in which your nozzle and build plate should be at. So anyways, when I got the third machine, it was a lot easier to put together, like I know on the first one when I built my CR10S, there's these little ball bearings that move the build plate back and forth on that Y-axis, I believe. And in order to get that thing to be as effective as it's supposed to be, you want to, when you build it, make sure that each of the ball bearings, the wheels on the bottom that move the plate, all have the same amount of tightness to them. Some, if you run your fingers over them when you first open the box, you'll find that they don't move the plate at all and they just spin. And you can't have them spinning. They need to be able to grab a friction of the board and move the board back and forth equally with the rest. Or you can actually have your prints fail due to not having properly tightened bearings at the bottom of your build plate. Yeah, I agree with you, Ice Wolf. I'm all about the straight glass plate and the hand level. You can get a lot more done that way. But for me, even with hand leveling, that was an important part, is knowing or finding a good coating that ran through the motions of the machine, and do the bed leveling while it's active. I highly prefer that. So the method that there was a great video I had watched that explained this, that came with the coating on YouTube. it was something like the ultimate bed leveling video or something like that. It was a top of the top post in a Google search on a Reddit thread, etc. As the information comes to be, is a quick print bed of an Anubik's really great, very sticky at 50 degrees and non-sticky at 20. Like there's also the besides glass plates, there's those like magnetic plates where you put down like this this flat magnetic bed that adheses to the glass, and then you put the magnetic top on it, and you don't have to like use a scraper to get your stuff off. You can just like bend the plate and pull it off that way. It's really nice, but I actually struggled to it was a little bit more difficult to level on that versus glass for some reason for me. And also I didn't like putting my adhesion down on it. I wish that my bed was so naturally adhesive that I wouldn't have to do the glue alcohol combination. I know that some people get away with it, but I just hate sometimes you don't find that your print's going to lift until you're well into it several hours later. Maybe you're not seeing on the initial print layers that there's any lifts. So you're like, cool, I'm going to bed. I'll see this in the morning. Come in the morning, part of it's sticking up at an angle and your print is no longer perfect. So I've at this point, I pretty much go to the adhesive layer each time. I have found that once I get a nice thick amount of multiple prints on a bed, I'll actually get a kind of a nice thick adhesion going on, or a layer of glue, and I don't actually have to put down glue for the next rounds because it has that kind of friction that it's needed to stick to it, especially once it heats up again. So anyways, lots of ranting here, but I'll show you a little bit of the prints that have been going on. Let's start with something pretty utility. We recently printed some things off of Thingiverse here, these sweet painting trays for the Vallejo paints. And this is popular in the old game store. I love seeing the prints out in the wild is what I call it. Here's a shot of that. So I was at the game store at Battlegrounds, and they were doing a painting clinic, and I just kind of ghosted in and started putting all their paints on a tray. They were just scattered all over the table. So I cruised in there and forced them to put it on the 3D printed trays there. But really cool print, really easy to print. I really like the check this out. So like it prints just the the whole backside there is empty, and I love how the angles is just perfect for it to continue to add layers over that kind of thin air without support. It's nice and sturdy. It's a good paint rack, so that's been fun. Something a little bit more glass players here. Yeah. Gotcha. Really nice those comments. So something a little bit more fancy is I met a local person that doesn't actually does some role playing, but is more into 3D printing on a historical way and like medical. So like what it can do for like prosthetics and things like that. But then also like talking about how different art pieces and structures and monuments have been lost over time through disaster or for been stolen or whatever, fires, things of that nature. So he has this app combined with his iPad, and he actually 3D prints. He actually scans models and architecture, and then he's looking to 3D print it. And he has one on his way, but he's been so anxious that he sent me several of the scans that he has done of a model that came to town, and had me print them as a commission. And that's been really cool. I'm going to show it to you in a second. I'm trying to reference the program that he uses again. OCCIPITAL. That's a hard word to say. Occipital structure. I can't say it, but it's a scan software, roughly with an iPad and all that. The hardware and the software is about a $400 situation, I believe. And he's gone around and scanned figures and then sent me the STL files after he's put them in several different programs he's tried to learn from, ZBrush, Blender, trying to find a program to do some proper editing to the scans to make them ready to print. And so what I'll show you now is what I've been printing for him. Now, I've been doing it with supports And you know, any sort of imperfections is typically already in the scan file. If there's any sort of wind or anything, or the model moves at all, then you can see this line in the back of the head or other little imperfections, then you'll get these type of issues. But out of the sake of experimentation and the fact that you can kind of hobby these issues away with putty and things of that nature, he's had me print them regardless. And this is the size of about a 15-hour print. That's the kind of scale I've been going to, is taking about 15 hours. You can see these crouching figures here with the supports on there. What I think is cool is the bone structure. You can actually really see the spine. If you can draw it on a computer, you can print it. It looks like I got James trying to join into the conversation, so bear with me, friends, while I get a partner in crime here. Let's see if I can make this happen. James, how are you? You got me? Cool, I'm going to make things work here. System audio. Cool, I'm just setting us up now real quick. Their alternative situation. Blam! Oh, I almost did it perfect, James. And...
yeah? I
blam.
see myself on your screen.
There we go, I fixed it.
Oh.
Okay.
Hello, gents.
Welcome to the show, James. How are you? I'm screen sharing to you on Google Hangout? Because I should not do that. I don't hear James.
Yeah, don't do that. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, hello.
Hi, Ice Wolf.
Yeah, we got our homies.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I hurried home, so I could be here tonight.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you, dude. So yeah, I was just talking about these prints. It was pretty cool project to get to scan some or print some custom scans. These are some one of a kind files that aren't available to the public, kind of thing. You know, pretty neat.
Yeah.
The first one that I had done was this crouching figure here, and the supports come off super clean. But you know, it's interesting the way that his scanner works, and as he gets better with it, like there's a big gap underneath the legs there. So here's it printing here. You can see the large gaps under its legs. So I put supports on it, and I haven't gotten to any sort of skill set with remixing, customizing, and designing. And obviously that's where the real wizardry happens and the science of what we do. My bad. There we go. I'm fixing things, guys. I'm getting stuff happening here. I was showing them the YouTube instead of the you. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. You know, I wish that I had more skills in design, and it's just a matter of time to apply it. I know James has gotten his feet wet a bit there and been able to make quite a few cool things happen for us.
Yeah, designing stuff's a lot of fun, man. It's just you have a vision of what you want, but then it has to come down to the practicality of actually printing it. Like, for instance, the tournament piece I tried to make where it was like tournament terrain, and it was just a cubic 9-inch building,
Yeah.
but it was only an L shape. And once you put all the greebles and gizmos on there to make it look 40K-esque, it ended up being like 100-something hour print for something that you did not like. You would only want to maybe take a day, like 24 hours, maybe 30 hours tops. But when you see it's like 100 hours, you're like, whoa, okay, you got to scrap this whole idea.
Yeah.
And start somewhere else.
That piece is super cool, though. And
I really want to print it. It's just impossible for me to justify it.
Yeah, it has, and that yet again, it has a, and this is something that you're becoming well acquainted with. But it had a more skill set, I could jump in there and try to chop it up to achieve a more efficient time. And right now, not just with James's file, but with anybody's files, that's a possibility that I haven't been able to foster that skill set yet. So it's important to be able to really get the most out of your prints.
Yeah, slicing things up in Keen. Not just slicing it through your software to talk to your printer, but to slice it itself as a model and print it in segments. And sometimes it makes it easier so you can get rid of supports. Like for our billboard, for instance, that we made, I sliced it up in several different ways, took a lot of different test prints. And that's where like having more than one printer is huge. Because if you only have one printer and you're testing out different ways to do something, you print it, and then it's done printing, and then you realize, oh, this is the problem that it has. You then have to go back to the design board, and you don't want to print something else because as soon as you're finished designing it, you want to throw that thing on the printer. So you either leave your printer shut down if you have one printer so that you can print your next design right away and tweak it faster, or you set something else to be printed in the meantime, and then you find yourself waiting for your printer to be open to test out what you redesigned, and then you might have to do that 3 or 4 times. I know I had to print 4 billboards till we got it somewhat right, and now we have people still wanting the bottom railing. So it's like I have to rekey the whole thing just to like fit all these parts in there to make almost like a model kit, like how you would buy from GW.
Yeah.
Instead of buying something that's like intact, solid one piece because of supports. And
man,
it's interesting.
Printing all this Worlds Overrun stuff, man, that makes me really want. You know, it's nice to not have to deal with supports on certain things. It can be a real pain to get supports off of, and it's definitely desirable to not have to, you know, build it. But I think one thing that's most desirable is printing things as much as you can in a single print. And so,
yes,
you know, the billboard's cool, which I got a shot right here. Here's a little movie of the billboard. Billboard's super cool because even when it is cut up, you can still print it in one go. But things like the World's Overrun terrain, man, I'll show this big monolith I had printed out. This is 179 hours, I believe. It's just massive amount of times to print this giant World's Overrun piece. Now, it's sick. But the biggest pain is the fact that I need to hobby all of this stuff together. I need to get putty or like liquid green stuff and, you know, get this thing sealed up. And there's like, I don't know, 30 some pieces to glue together. It's crazy.
It's a beautiful piece though. I mean,
really
something
is.
that size with 3 levels to it, plus the bottom floor, like it's gorgeous, dude. Like
it's one of a kind for sure. Like anybody that sees it's like, what the hell is that? I want that in my life.
Yeah, I want like 3 of those on a table.
Oh man,
or at least 2.
Yeah.
But man, like when you're talking over 100 and almost 200 hours for each one, it kind of ends up being these ridiculous things unless you have your own printer and you're only printing for yourself.
Right, right. Here's some, I do got some more practical stuff by Worlds Overrun that I printed that's still multi-piece, but beautiful. This is like this cool like exoskeleton, either alive or fossilized, however you want to paint it up, type of alien structure. Super cool. Really dig these big spikes, and I think I have a shot. Yeah, check this out, the spikes on the build plate. There you guys can kind of see that that white film there. I was talking a little bit about adhesion before you jumped on, James. But that's pretty cool there, how you could take all these spikes, and because the way that Worlds Overrun makes these excellent designs where they're designed to not have to use supports, he's got the perfect angle on those things to be able to print them straight up like that, which was really cool. Here's a whole table worth of some stuff there. You can see several pieces that have been coming up. I got that cool... I think it's called the Thorn Crawler. Is a pretty neat piece. Here it is up close.
Yeah, like the buzzsaw going through the ground, or are you talking about the trench-looking thing?
Yeah, it's the buzzsaw. I just got it up on the screen big. I'm not sure how to interpret that. Like it makes me think each time of like gold and like rocks, like kind of like crystals or rocks or something like in a cave. But I don't know if that's like what the design intention was of those rocky pieces there.
I know his intention was that's like a drill ripping through the ground. So like that's ground debris coming up as the thing is ripping through it.
Okay, cool.
I'm excited about Worlds Overrun's next world they're going to be creating for a Kickstarter, and we will definitely be getting those files for you guys.
Yeah, apparently I'm next to inaudible to these guys. I'm sucking at the tech today, dude.
Oh no.
I think I can fix that.
I hear you good on my side.
Blam. They should definitely hear that louder. I might have been
Getting on the soft talky side. There we go. Turned everything up, fools. Thanks for shouting out though, Chicken Bone. We need that feedback so we can correct things in real time because we're live, of course. And been out of the saddle a little bit.
What I'm really excited about is what came in the mail today.
Oh yeah. You broke up a bit on that, but say again there.
About it as far as a Bowden extruder goes, which all of Creality is. I mean, they're Enders, they're CR10s, they're everything else in betweens. This right here is just like a better quality plastic, and it has a thinner diameter. Still feeds the 1.75 diameter filament through, but it has less of a wiggle, so it creates less drag, so that your extruder can feed it into your hot end more seamlessly without struggle. So it allows for a lot cleaner of a print.
Interesting.
So I didn't know this was such a good upgrade for just changing a little tube, but I've seen many videos that are out there, and maybe we might create our own, or I could talk George into making one of those videos of a before and after type of situation. One machine with it off and one machine with it on, printing the exact same thing, and see the quality difference. Because honestly, when I had an extruder issue about 2 weeks ago, when we didn't have a show going on, my printer was done because I only got one printer here for my end of just test prints. And I didn't quite know what it was. So I went through a series of different trial and errors. One of them, I got the metal extruder because it comes with a plastic one. I believe the Ender 3 might even be a 3D printed one. So it's not like uncommon for them to be plastic. But what ends up happening, and I think it's RMC Gaming is another gaming 3D printing company. And they have 10 CR10Ss, and they run them 24/7. And what ends up happening is, as the Z-axis goes up, the filament still is at like an angle down or up, and it causes it to create friction against the plastic extruder or even filament guide, and it starts wearing a hole and like cutting into the plastic slowly over time, which creates more drag, which creates problems with extrusion. So by getting the metal one that I have, that won't happen because the plastic's not going to cut through the metal. So that helped a lot. And then I was having another problem with my nozzle. It got clogged. So you have to make sure where your Bowden tube sits into your hot end, that it doesn't clog there. Otherwise, it can build clogs within your nozzle and in the hot end itself. So I changed out the Bowden tube to a cheaper one, like the spare one that comes with it. Changed out the nozzle with the upgraded extruder. Everything was back to normal again. Took a lot of trial and error to figure that out. But now I'm excited because this Capricorn Bowden tube just came in. So it's just upgrading a little bit further. And I mean, these are cheap upgrades. I think I paid like 15 bucks for this, 15 bucks for the metal extruder piece. So you're talking $30 in upgrades. And from what I've seen, it's going to make a lot of difference in the quality of prints that I can even put out. And that's just 30 bucks onto cheap printer. I mean, because even the CR10S at $500, which is like the most you'll pay for it now, I mean, I consider that still a cheap printer.
Yeah.
Especially when there's like $1,500 printers on the regular.
Definitely. But no, that's impressive. That's impressive. I know that issues are a struggle, man. Yeah, just before the show started, I was like, I was printing one of those paint trays and walked out of the room, came back upstairs, and what do you know, like my whole control box was tilted over, like getting sucked into the machine. Somehow the last bit of filament on the roll was like stuck to the roll enough to pull the machine over. And so I stopped the print, and when I try to get that final bit of filament out of the extruder there, is like it broke off, and all that was just a little tip of filament to grab right at the clamps right before it goes into the tube. I called James like, how do I get this damn tube off, man? And so he's about to show me how once he actually replaces his own there with his upgrade. Because I wasn't figuring it out over the phone there. Luckily, I got some needle nose and yanked that puppy out of there and got going again. Better have one cheap where upgrades are also cheap, part of the hobby. Yep, Ice Wolf's in agreement.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, this is truly a hobby of 3D printing now, and I absolutely love it. Like, I could truly be the best like 3D printing salesperson out there, I feel like, because I don't see any reason why you shouldn't have a 3D printer. If you have a paper printer, you should have a 3D printer, because you can literally make anything. Like a knob on your drawer breaks, you can print a new knob. I mean, it's just insane what you can do. And for gamers like ourselves, to a whole new level. I mean, even if you're not the hobbyist who paints or anything, George will attest to how much fun printing is. Like, I find myself watching the printer, I'm like shitting, but it's just so cool to watch a roll of weed whacker plastic into something useful, and it's just amazing to me.
Man, it's talking about useful in gaming. The biggest thing that's helped, I've loved movement trays. I just started playing with movement trays. I've always wanted to, but now being able to print out all these different varieties and try the different type of formations I wanted to do, it's so cool to be able to move all of these models in one go. Right there, you're looking at roughly 50 models, and I can move them in 4 movements instead of 50. It makes the game so much more fun. Here's another different variety of movement trays here in white. But been trying to make a lot of different versions of the trays, whether they're 5-man squads, 10-man squads, straight. Here's a 32 millimeter, 25 millimeter, hollow in the middle. How thick do you want it? So yeah, I've been having a good time with the experimentation and kind of finding that feel that is the coolest, and that's been picking up in popularity as people have been getting some games on and seeing how much fun it is to not have to pick up all your models in a big fist to try to get them on the board fast enough to not take 2 hours to play or whatever.
I truly wish my gameplay style would like accommodate.
Dude, even if you just use it for
but my gameplay style is just not allowing them.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. I sort of break up there. Even if you just play with them to do your deployment, though, dude. Like, I know.
Yeah, doesn't work. I tried.
Yeah,
I truly tried. Doesn't work.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I skate everything around. It's like a snake, because I use really big units, or I use like single model unit.
I gotcha.
Or it's just one thing I'm already moving by itself.
Yeah, but you still, I mean, like, even if you just have 10 guys that you're going to snake around, you can pick them up in one pie plate and then begin to snake them. You may not even put them on the tray all said and done, but just to be able to pick them up from one location to get to the table with them is a luxury in itself that makes you feel less strenuous during the game.
Yeah, I wish I could have that feeling, but I take everything right out of the case onto the table. And then it goes back into the case. So there's no, like, it'd be redundant for me to take it out of the case, put it in a tray, take it off the tray, put it on the table. It's just my play style. Being a combat specialist and all, caring about those micro movements.
Gotcha. The iSwift asked me if I had tried those files. I didn't see any additional files, iSwift. Did I miss out on further files? I'm going to have to look closer, because I know the last time we had discussed, you know, I had shown you the struggles I was having with these 3D movement trays. iSwift's been trying to help us create the adjustable movement tray. We had seen this video a while back of a local shop in James's area of somebody that had created this custom design, and I want it so badly. Made a lot of magnetic movement trays back in the days. Yeah.
With fantasy and the square bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, movement trays are cool. I've been enjoying those.
Yeah. So those kind of movement trays I could see myself using if they worked properly. With the articulating circles.
Ones, yeah.
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 But then I'm always worried about my spacing, because like, man, I want to talk about 40K right now, because I have 40K on the brain at the moment. Adepticon's coming close, and it's like the season is near. When I see that type of reticulating action, it makes me want to use those kind of movement trays. But then I was in the situation where I was going against like normal like vehicles and infantry for one game, and then the next game I was going against knights, and it's like, man, my gaps change then. So it's like I almost need that reticulating to be like half-inch gaps to like make it small so I can take maximum movement as a pack. But I also want like large gaps where it's full 2 inches so that I can fit a 60 mil base through it. There's so many things about like micromanagement in that game that gets me excited, but I also want to find solutions because I am envious of the movement tray people. Like if I played guard or Tau, I would be rocking movement trays all day long.
Yeah, it's nice. Chicken Bo's saying you better get your Templars ready.
Oh, dude, the Templars are here. I just got George's Gellerpox out. That's the reason why I'm running late. I was driving around to find a shipping place that was open, and
so excited,
dude. Templars are ready, man. Like they're here. I'm going to start working on them. Got myself into kill teams at Adepticon. I know George is talking about putting me into the next one, the evening one. So I might be getting in 2 events at Adepticon.
Already happened, dude. You're signed up.
All right. So all Friday, 2 events of kill team. Never played a kill team in my life still, and I'm going to be getting in a kill team. So don't worry.
Playing
Chicken
Imperium
Bone.
per the help of Chicken Bone and Tau Dark.
Never played Imperium any 40K-esque world.
Yeah, I know this is the Tabletop Alchemy, but look at those Gellerpox. Oh, my God. I can't wait till those get here. I'm so excited. They look amazing. My God. I'm going to have to be rocking the Gellerpox at the Adepticon. Look at us go, dude. We're on a tangent. We can't keep our shows straight, man.
Dude, it's a problem of ours, man.
So I'll show this thing. This is a magic life counter. What do you think, world? Just to change, because the Gellerpox will just get me going, man. But the yeah, so you know, it's apparently this relic in the lore of magic, some sensei's token or some shit. The thing that I sucked at is gluing it together in a balanced way because it doesn't spin like a top. So I was getting shit at the game store for it not spinning appropriately. I'm a terrible hobbyist. I really am.
That is hilarious.
Like the closest I can come to making something is letting a machine do it. But damn it if I'm not trying.
That's too funny.
Yo, I need to get what do you think, James, and for our audience, what's a good glue to glue PLA together?
Honestly, CA glue. CA glue. I think I said 2 A's. CA glue, which is super glue.
Super glue.
Yeah,
it seems like plastic glue is not actually that good.
No, I hate plastic glue because it melts the plastic, and then once the plastic is done melting through the chemical reaction, it like fuses back together with the other melted ends. So like if you're gluing 2 plastic parts together, you have to wait for it to completely melt and then harden back up, and that only works so well with certain types of plastics. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm a big fan of Zap-A-Gap. That's great. And then I think it's Bob's Industries makes a whole line of CA glue products, like degluing agents and thicknesses of glues from like super, super thick where it's like this almost like a gel to like super thin where it's like it runs faster than water. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So they make a variety of products, and that's why I like them. But if I was going to go to like a go-to, just grab one and go, I'd probably get Zap-A-Gap. Big fan of it.
Do you think for that big monstrosity I was showing that I use my Zap-A-Gap on that and be good to go?
Yeah, yeah. And if you get Accelerator, which I don't recommend if you're not temporarily putting something together, if it's something very delicate, like you need like the smallest amount of margin of error where it's like 2 tiny points touching together, then I use Accelerator because you can't, it's too hard to hold it into place before it cures. So I will go dab a glue on one side, Accelerator squirt on the other side, touch them together, wait like 1 second, and then they're together. If it's something going to be permanent, you don't want to use an accelerator because it makes the joint weaker. So for that big dude, what I would do is sand one side, well, I'll sand both sides, so it's like rough, so it gives like grip to it. And then I would only put glue on one side, and then try to do my best to line them up and touch it. Because the less movement you do with CA glue, the better adherence it's going to have. It's going to just stick right away. But once you start sliding stuff, what ends up happening is the glue starts to cure to the glue itself. So you're not actually creating the bond between the 2 parts, but you're creating a bond between 2 dried up glue points. If that makes sense.
I'm following.
Yeah, but big fan of Zap-A-Gap. So like for Worlds Overrun with the pegs, you could drop a drop in each side of the pegs holes, put a peg in there, and glue it together. And Zap-A Gap is so strong that you don't even need to glue the main ridges unless you wanted to like sand it. So like if you were to glue the perimeter, smash it together, a little bit of glue might come out of the edge. But if you're going to sand, it'll sand it so that it's like solid, so you don't even see a seam.
Yeah. Even just gluing it, I can sand away the seam. I think I need to put some green stuff sealer in there or something, right? So I need to do some sort of putty scenario to cover the seams up.
And there's different types of putties out there that you can use. You can literally use like actual like bucket putty, where it's you take a powder, mix it with water, and it makes a putty. Or you can use what I would like to use is a spray primer that has a putty in it. So there's actually small little particles in the spray that when you spray it, it fills gaps.
Yeah.
So you never want to use it on like miniature models because it would literally fill in all your gaps. But on a situation where you're trying to cover a large surface of something and it has imperfections, it's going to fill all your gaps of your imperfections. And you can do like multiple layers of this. So let's say if I wanted to print a suit of armor, for instance, or an Iron Man suit. A lot of those files are on Thingiverse. You can just grab them. Once you print it, you're going to have your print lines. All you need to do, give it a little bit of sandpaper to make it rough enough to grab the primer. Spray the primer on there. It's going to fill a lot of those sanding gaps that you created, but it's also going to fill the print line gaps. And then what you want to do is sand it again and spray it again. And you keep doing this until all those gaps are gradually filled. And once they're all filled, I recommend taking an 800 grit sandpaper with water and going over it just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. And it doesn't take much. It really doesn't. I mean, it's a pretty fast process for considering like how tedious it could be if you were doing it by hand with like mixing your own putty, spreading it on, sanding that area, going to the next area.
I'm gonna throw this piece back up on the screen again for reference. But so like with this guy, do you think you would do it in sections, or would you glue this whole thing together and then sand it?
The big prime,
yeah,
I would do it all in one piece.
You'd glue it all up and then sand it.
I would do it all. Yeah, I glue it all in one. Well, I'd sand the connecting edges so that it has something to grip to.
Right.
Once it's all gripped together, then I would sand like the ridges that overhang. So looking at this, I know it's not glued, but you're going to probably have, because you're printing at different times, which is weird about 3D printing, especially the home hobby, is the temperature outside and like the humidity changes like how the printer works. It's really, really strange where like you get minor adjustments, and I'm talking like to the 0.02 millimeter, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But those minor adjustments when you're having something with like 30 pieces, and let's say you're taking a couple weeks to print this in between other prints, when you go to put it together, even though all this seam right here with this seam might line up, but when you put it all together, you're going to have uneven seams. I would sand those down to a point where they join together, because otherwise you're going to primer it and you're still going to have a gap that you're going to need to sand down dramatically. So those heavy sanding areas I would do right away, and then do the spray primer that has a putty in it, and that will fill all your print gaps. And then I would sand again, and normally just 2 coats of that will do most printing if you're printing at 0.2 millimeter layer height, because that resolution isn't that bad. But if you're going to be at like a 0.3 millimeter layer height or 0.4, you might have to do 3 or 4 applications like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the next step for me, and to evolve is to be able to do a lot of this handiwork on my own, and it's be kind of a new frontier. What up, Shadizo? Glad to have you, man. I got a pretty full house there for 3D printing. We had up to 9 people just 2 seconds ago. Every time I say how many, never count your cards. Yeah, man. So, okay, cool. Yeah, that's, I am really looking forward to seeing some of this stuff now that it's all printed and I've gotten to like just see its footprint and kind of the details and just the raw print. I'm just super excited to see some like completed. That's honestly one of my favorite parts about 3D printing so far is seeing people take the prints and enjoy them and kind of see them out in the wild, if you will. I love seeing them
all
come
painted
to
and
life.
finished.
Yeah. Like
I agree. That is super cool.
The battleground sign. Trying to think of some of the other things.
The crates.
Yeah, the crates really got me going. I really want to see somebody knock out one of these satellites. Even seeing just the thorns that you had done was super cool too.
Yeah, I mean, painting a couple of those have been pretty cool. I'm really excited about my Halo light that just came in. Or it didn't come in. I finished printing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know what a Halo light is, but it's basically a half circle that has an LED strip that runs through it. So it creates this arching effect of light so that you're getting light on all directions of something that you're working on. So you don't have any shadows. And that allows you to have like better just clarity when you're seeing. And what I'm excited about is all these little tips we're telling you. I can put a GoPro mount on the top of this with the GoPro going down. And Gordito, our buddy out there in the interwebs, he's sent me a webcam that has 1080p so that I can now do tutorials. So I will have the GoPro down facing something and then the camera on me to explain this. And I'm going to explain how to take these prints from nothing to like a finished product and then how to paint them and all the easy steps in between. And what's great is the types of post-finishing type products out there. I don't think that's the right wordage. But if you want something to look like a rock or something, you don't necessarily have to be a good painter. There's lots of technical paints out there like that are in rattle cans. So you can get like rock texture that will have like speckles in it. And then you can just throw a wash over it and call it done. Like it's amazing what's out there. And that's the future brings in 2019 for us is we're going to be showing you things that we can print, things that you can print, and then how to finish them. And I'm excited about this stuff.
Totally. Yeah, I was trying to find a good I remember back when you first started talking about the lighting system there with the 3D printer. There was an image I had seen, but I can't find it now. It's pretty sweet though, man. So you literally 3D printed kind of a mounting system for LED lights, so you have a nice bright light over your print bed there, and for that, which of course is not only great for seeing it and seeing what's going on with the print, but also for filming.
So I made this. I literally can just pull it off the top of my printer. It's so easy. So I printed this little bracket, and then I bought LED, like a roll of LED strips. I think I only bought like 3 meters, so like 15 feet of it. But I don't use very much, as you can see. And then just with simple soldering, it all runs parallel. So all you have to do is just solder your red to the same spot here, your black to the same spot here, and it continues going. And then I just bought a switch and a power supply, so it just goes on.
Nice.
And what's nice is this channel allows me to fit on the channel on top of the CR10S. So it just sets on top of there, and it now lights up my print bed. And since it's LEDs, it's super inexpensive as far as electricity. So I just leave it on whenever I have a print on. So I don't have to have any lights on or anything in the room. I can walk away. When I come back, it's bright enough where I don't even need to turn the lights on. I can peek around the corner and make sure everything's going well.
That's sweet.
And it's awesome. And I don't have to pull out my phone. I'm looking at the print. Because a lot of times I was pulling out my flashlight on my phone to look at the print because that area of the room is just darker comparison to where the lights are.
I use one of the big camera lights. You know, I have it in my room, and I go in there and flip it on for a big spotlight on the print bed. So
yeah,
having it mounted sounds great.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a super simple thing where it's mounted, the switch goes off to the side, and then just clicking on and off. And I don't know how much that would be normally, but it probably costs like 30 cents of plastic to print. I've already did a print job for a lithophane that paid for the LED lights, so I already had the LED lights. I think I paid $3 for the on-off switch.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, maybe cost me $4 tops to make.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that kind of thing. That's another exciting, awesome thing about 3D printing is getting things you can't really get otherwise, and it's cheaper than you ever would have imagined. Shadizo was asking that you might know this, James. He was saying, do you use smooth on XTC? I'm not sure what he means there.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the products out there.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm really curious about printing with ABS. I'm sorry to cut you off, George.
No, that's fine.
But ABS plastic is more of like a toxic plastic, so it's not the best thing to be printing in closed rooms like I'm in. But what's awesome about it is you can smooth it with acetones. So you
I
can
think
have.
that's what he was talking about. I just Googled it, and it's kind of the same. It has like videos and stuff about smoothing the surface with this coating. And so you're saying we can do that with acetone. Yeah, this is pretty cool. This Smooth On XTC 3D High Performance Coating. It's a protective coating for smoothing and finishing 3D prints. That sounds pretty cool, Shadizo. No, I hadn't heard of that. And that's also cool. You said you got your gaming group there. Some ejective markers. I like that. That's honestly what I was thinking too, Ice Wolf. Ice Wolf was cracking a joke about ecstasy. Yeah, I was thinking about smooth ecstasy too. It was like, Shadizo doesn't usually troll. Obviously, you weren't trolling there, Shadizo. I had to Google it. That looks interesting. I would love to see, again, just stepping into the world of actually like customizing the pieces that we print. At least on my end, I've never been much of a hobbyist, and trying to soak up James's wisdom in the subject. Apparently Ice Wolf is correcting that acetone works best with ABS filament, not PLA. Oh, wow. And also a fun fact that acetone is the biggest export in the Netherlands, even bigger than flowers. Ice Wolf, you're a wealth of information. You're a scholar and a saint. So much multitasking, messages everywhere. The idea of making prints better, it sounds great. Using a smoothing agent sounds like something that was out of my perspective and that I'd like to make happen, especially if it I didn't have to sand things, but it looks like you probably do a mixture of sanding and using this material and things. What else has been going down, y'all? I don't know where James took off to. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I have much more in the hopper here to show you what's been going on. I'm still printing these ladies, showing you all these bodices, and I'm printing more of them now. And I'm finishing up a paint tray that just went haywall on me, but I've got that fixed. James had his printer go down and has since fixed it, and we're kind of back in the saddle again. We are getting damn close to finishing the World's Overrun catalog. We've been, the Thorn catalog. There's still several things to explore, especially strata. Here's these crazy floating rocks from World's Overrun. World's Overrun is a designer company that Tabletop Alchemy, James and I, we teamed up with and got a license agreement to be able to sell their product line or their IP. So we've been printing and selling World's Overrun gear, and there's still a lot to explore, particularly these floating rocks are something that we haven't checked out yet. We've done a little bit of these modular pieces here. This is called Grove. It's meant to look like kind of a lush foresty look. Here's a shot of what's called Scorch. And this is more of a deserty landscape that we printed with the cool end cap designs using all the open lock systems. Open lock is a sweet universal design that was given to the public from a awesome person out there at one point in time, and a lot of 3D designers use the open lock system to connect their components. So looking forward to continuing the World's Overrun terrain. We have a lot of it done. We have this portal done. We've been working particularly on the more alien type structures, which is the Thorn catalog and one of his Kickstarters. Worlds Overrun has done 4 Kickstarters now, and we bought the first 3 catalogs. So yeah, y'all, that's what's going down. We missed the last couple episodes, but we won't miss them again. What we got here? Hangout crashed on James and he got kicked. Now, Shadizo, we started talking about 3D printing too much on our Thursday show, so we are doing both. We are
Oh, James, you got back in.
Ha.
Nice. There we go. Today is for 3D printing Thursdays. Yes, thank you, IceWolf. IceWolf is our quality control as well. He's an excellent.
Dude, he's the man.
Yeah, IceWolf is the man.
The man.
The man.
Yes. Sorry, guys. I had internet problems with Google Hangout, but I'm back, and I know George is talking about the cool stuff.
Yeah, I was talking about Worlds Overrun, our licensing agreement we put together with them, and how we got their first 3 Kickstarter catalogs, and we have been working our way through it. I was about to say that we had nearly completed printing all of their stuff, but I was like, wait a second. We're almost getting done with just one catalog, Thorn. We still have Strata to go.
Yeah.
Still a lot of Grove, a lot of Scorch. Quite a bit of different stuff.
I'm in a new world to come soon.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to what we've heard of that. It definitely seems to be up the alley with the type of armies and stuff that James and I are into.
Yes. I'm the most excited about this one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. I mean, I definitely think the alien terrain is really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the Nurgle approach being taken with this terrain. I don't think out of any terrain from this Thorn set actually has them in like a Nurgle-esque paint job. So I look forward to seeing it that way. I know I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's getting on the plate soon. I mean, I have a plane for Ali, a Slanesh thing for Gordito, and then I'm on to the Nurgle terrain, so it's getting there.
Hell yeah. Yeah, James is a busy man. You got Black Templars. You got to do the fucking Worlds Overrun terrain. Space Wolves. Or not Space Wolves,
Yeah.
Space Wolf board, but yeah.
I'm not really worried about that board. I can knock that board out pretty quick.
I'm so excited to see it. But yeah, he's coming soon because Adepticon.
Yes. Yes. I hope you guys can make it to Adepticon. We're planning on partying hard there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I couldn't believe I saw the Kill Team openings. I was like, fuck it, dude. I got some free time on my schedule. I'm doing it. I was like, let's go, James.
I'm all for it, man. Never played the game, but I'll go there and compete.
Yeah, we need to get some. We'll get some practice sessions in when we drive up early.
Yeah, we have to, because otherwise I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
I tried to read the book, and I'm like, this isn't 40K.
Yeah, you'll get it soon enough. But yeah, man, I think we've reached about an hour here. Did you have anything particular you wanted to hit before we jumped out, James?
No, not really, man. I was excited about talking about the Capricorn and just the simple upgrades for the Correalities. I mean, for $30, man, you can make your machine so much better. And honestly, stock Correalities are amazing. I mean, George will attest to that.
Yep.
I'm a huge fan of their machines, especially because they're all open source, which is big because the company has no, like, copycats because it's a Chinese company and the way their trademarks and copyrights work. So the way they did it is made everything open source. So a lot of people are going for the originals because they're just backing like what the company stands for. And I'm all for it because they're making it easy for everybody. I mean, they just keep upgrading these machines further and further. They're trying to make them cheaper and cheaper. I didn't even know this until I was about to purchase my Ender 3. Is they've upgraded the Ender 3, which has only been out for, I want to say, 6 months maybe.
It's the Ender
They've
5?
upgraded. Well, no, that's a different model completely.
Oh.
The Ender 3 itself is one model. And then they have the Ender 4, they have an Ender 5. But the Ender 3 itself, they've upgraded 4 times. And they don't even tell anybody. You just like order it and it's just a little bit better. A little bit tweaks here, a little bit tweaks there. Because people have problems with them. Like right now, they use these faulty connectors. I think they're called X60 connectors or something, or XT60 connectors. They're supposed to be able to take like 60 amps of current. And they have like generic ones on some of their Enders, and they're getting hot because they're not soldered to the connector. They're crimped, and these need to be soldered. So they're getting hot points and like melting the connector. And on their new ones, they now have fixed that problem. It's just amazing how fast they are on top of things and sharing their findings with people. And I appreciate companies like that.
Yeah.
Instead of like Form, for instance. Big fan of their printers because they're amazing, but they keep all their secrets in house. Like nothing is open source there. So that's what I really want to talk about is the upgrades and how awesome their stuff is.
Yeah, no, respect to that. No, I think you had some good info out there on just how to, work with PLA when it comes to glue and the sanding techniques and all that. I found it insightful information. Thank you for your comments today, James. Glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about Thursday though, because Warhammer's fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about some Warhammer as well. Been playing a lot of it. I am thrilled to play Kill Team with Gellerpox, but yeah, that's some Thursday stuff. Shit, y'all. That is, we're back Mondays. We'll be here again this Thursday. We'll be here again. In fact, you're only going to see lots and lots and lots more content from us in 2019, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah, keep taking fun serious.
No doubt. Catch y'all later. Shadizo, Chicken Bone, James Harrington, just saw your name pop up. Good to see you, man. It's good to have all y'all.
Shapeways is an awesome company, by the way.
It is. Shapeways rules. We had Rawl Thomas, who I've never seen before, but I was glad to have. Lou Bangs came in excited.
Lou Bangs.
Give some words of encouragement. Thank you, Lou Bangs.
Thank you, Ice Wolf.
Another great time. Another great time. We'll see you guys Thursday, hopefully, and in between, and next week, and all that stuff. Keep taking fun. Seriously. Peace.